Hi, this is Dr. Richard Aplin with Bullpen Science. We have a special event this weekend. We have doctors from all over the world, from the United States. Do we have some Canadians here? Fantastic. We also have some doctors from Sweden, and I'm really honored to have them here. At the NeuroInfinity training program, we're taking time not only to talk to the icons of the profession, but the up-and-coming icons, as you see in front of the camera. And so I wanted to introduce Dr. Brian Jensen, Dr. Laura Hansen, and Dr. Cynthia Porter. These are three of the doctors that work with NeuroInfinity in training field doctors, not only in understanding brain-based wellness, but also how to communicate that, not only to parents and their patient, but also to the young children that are growing up needing our services. And so what I wanted to do is just open up the panel and let the doctors talk for just a minute, and we're going to get a really nice recording, and then we're going to open it up for a few questions from the group here. So Dr. Laura, why don't you go ahead and start for us?
Okay, well, I'm Dr. Laura Hansen. A lot of different faces are here this time. That's really great. I'm actually teaching you tomorrow morning, and I've been doing an advanced session yesterday and today. And we're actually going to have a mom from my practice come in just a little while, and I'm going to do a report of findings so that I can teach the group in the advanced how I communicate the SRE to the mother. And then the child's coming as well, and he's actually going to have his first session of neurofeedback in front of that group so that they can see how I initially teach it to a child. And I have to tell you, children really do get this so much better than the grown-ups do, because their brains are open. You know, lots that goes on with our brain is about our age. So when you're 1 to 3, it only takes about 1 to 2 behavioral changes to get something to go in another direction. And then I'm sure you've heard 21 days to a new habit, right? Everybody's heard that statement before. Well, it's true as long as you're 4 to 6 years old. It doesn't apply to any other group. You can change something in about 21 days in that age group. When you get older, from about 7 to 9, it's about 90 days. And then it moves up to about 6 months. After the age of 14, it takes thousands of repetitions to change what's going on, what behavior you want to change. And behavior is not limited to how somebody's acting. So it's behavior patterns of the body, it's behavior patterns of the brain. So I really like the young kids. I like to have fun with them. So when I'm working with children, I'm really trying to find out how can I get into their brain, teach those bodies from the brain stem up. How are they going to be able to take their world and integrate their neurology to their chronological age? Because that's really what the disruption is. And then over the hundreds of SREs that I've done, I have seen a pattern. So I really don't care what label you have. I don't care if you're autistic. I don't care if you're dyslexic, ADD, ADHD, elemental P. I have seen one common pattern in every single one of the SREs. Their brains simply do not engage correctly. So you've been looking at this weekend. You understand what that word engagement talks about. The brain turning on, turning off like it's supposed to. Well, how cool is that if we can find a pattern that is consistent across the pediatric population, and if we really dive in and understand engagement and be able to teach it, we're going to be changing all kinds of lives. So the kids love it. Don't be worried about trying to teach a child. They'll get it much faster than the adult. You do have to work on their brainstem first, but tomorrow morning, brightly at 8 a.m., I will be happy to go over that with you.
Thank you, Dr. Laura. Dr. Brian, you have actually helped us in communicating with our patients through the through our reports and also doing special lathe classes. And I wanted you to offer some information not only for the doctors but also for their patients, and how the communication is so vitally important nowadays when we're talking about brain-based wellness, to compare to the old days of, oh, I have a pain in my neck or I have a pain in my low back.
Right. And I practice like that, like a lot of doctors still do. It's that pain-based practice, and it was kind of frustrating for me. And so this was like just a revelation to be able to document and quantify how the brain is functioning. Now, communicating that to patients is a big challenge because generally speaking, our patients, they don't get health care. They don't understand physiology very well. So trying to break that down into a format that they could understand is a challenge. And that's something that I really pride myself on trying to make things as simple as possible. I tell a story to all of my patients. It's the bear in the woods story, and it's the fight or flight story. And that's my story. And when I explain what happens physiologically and how it shuts down certain physiological processes, and we have, excessive fast brainwave activity and all the things that go along with that, they kind of understand that. Do you know someone that has digestive problems? They have a hard time sleeping. They have, immune system problems and hormonal imbalances, and they all know those things, but they don't understand how they happen. When I look at an SRE of a patient and I say, when I see this, it makes me think that this and this and this is happening. Does that sound like anybody you know? They go, oh my God, that's me. And so we finally have a way to quantify and to really see what's going on with people, as opposed to just, how you feeling today? How's that low back pain? How's that neck pain? How's the headache? And that's such a superficial way to practice. Simplifying the message has made a huge difference in our practice. And I've literally had people say, I've learned more about my health in the last 5 minutes than I've learned my whole life. And it finally makes sense. It's not a big mystery. And what we have available to us and the way to communicate these ideas to people, it makes sense to them. It's authentic. And the response of the patients to our recommendations for care. Laura said, it takes thousands of repetitions to make these changes. It does. And so we need to stop being ashamed to recommend long-term care. Okay, that's what it takes. And so if you will practice with enough frequency and enough duration and the right intensity, as the science says behind us, you're going to get great long-term lasting results. And we've got some of the most complicated cases coming into our office. We don't advertise. They find out about us and they show up. We have pain management groups referring failed back surgery patients to us, and we're helping them. And it's just amazing what doors are being opened to us now, because we're really getting to the reality of what's going on with the nervous system, and we're addressing it appropriately and basically stepping into the opportunity that patients have to improve regardless of where they show up. The patterns that Laura has seen in the children are the same patterns that show up as adults, except that they're more chronic. And it takes a long time. And we use some great tools to address these issues, including the brain tap technology that I'm sure Dr. Sink is going to talk about a little bit.
Wow. One of the exciting things for me as not only an instructor but also a field practitioner is, even though this may sound revolutionary, especially for people that are tuning into this program and have never been to a neurologically based chiropractor, even though it sounds revolutionary now, the number of doctors that I'm looking at in this group that has been growing over the years, we're finally starting to see that these doctors are going out and their practices are expanding by leaps and bounds, simply because the public finally is starting to search for doctors that do more than just manage or treat their symptoms. See, because finally people are starting to understand that there are no problems, all right, that really occur without a consequence. So they go to the doctor with the consequence of the problem, they manage their consequence, and they leave with their problem. Well, that vicious cycle is finally starting to come to an end with the help of these fine doctors. Now, Dr. Porter and I, we've known each other for some time, and this is absolutely one of the most exciting things that I have ever seen. The brain tap technology is an integral part of my practice, and it is with a number of doctors across this country, also in other countries. And so I want you to say hello and introduce us a little bit more about brain tap, not just for the doctors, but also for the patients for these doctors.
Well, excuse me, BrainTap technology is utilizing the science of what's called brainwave entrainment. So we're basically guiding, guiding brainwave activity. And brainwaves are how the brain functions. That's all the information that's being processed creates these signals in the brain that we're now able to, with devices like the NeuroInfinity, pick up and better understand. What we're finding is that most people in today's culture are in a state of what we call super stress. And what that means is we are in this technology age that we live in, we're bombarded with so much information, we're in all uptime and no downtime, to the point where the brain is no longer able to function properly. The brain tends to set up these coping mechanisms where either people are in this high stress, fight or flight state all the time, or they go the opposite direction and they just kind of drop out. They drop into what's called the theta brainwave frequency. And those are the people that they call oftentimes attention deficit disorder. It's like when the lights are on but nobody's home. It's because they can't cope with the overstimulation, and so they check out. So what BrainTap technology does is uses just light and sound frequencies, completely natural process, to guide the brain back into what we call full spectrum brainwave activity. The result of unbalanced brainwave activity is oftentimes disease, but prior to that, sometimes it can just be an inability to sleep. It can manifest as a weight problem. It can manifest as a drug problem because people tend to self-medicate when they don't feel normal. They're trying to get back to normal. So the other side of it too is the thoughts. How our thoughts play a role in everything that happens within our bodies. Okay, Dr. Patrick Porter, my husband, is fond of saying the law of mind is the law of belief, and what we believe is what we tend to bring about. So using BrainTap technology also helps with those thought patterns. First, putting in the brain in a place where it can actually generate a new thought pattern. If we're stuck in just one brainwave that we're coping through, we're just coping with life, we're not living it anymore. So what this does is gets us out of that state, opens up the creative part of our minds, our intuition, gets us back in balance so we can think through our decisions. So from a behavior standpoint, which of course many times people's lifestyles is what got them where they are, so we need to change the lifestyle at the same time as we're changing the body, right? So that's what BrainTap is really all about. And the beauty of it is that it's done for you. It's completely passive. You close your eyes, relax for about 20 minutes. Your brain follows these rhythms and patterns, and you come out of it in this optimized brain state where you can accomplish anything at that point.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I want to take just a moment as a co-instructor and thank you, each one of you, for your contributions not only to NeuroInfinity but also to the profession and to the public at large. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I want to sign off with this is Dr. Aplin for Bullpen Science, and I look forward to our next encounter, and you guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rich.